Welcome to Miami Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Loaded show here on the latest Dolphins rumors, starting with Tua Tagovailoa, and we'll talk about some expectations for the end of the season as well. But Jeff Darlington of ESPN went on ESPN in their NFL show yesterday and reported that the Dolphins and Tua continue negotiations on a possible contract extension as Tua is entering the final year of his rookie contract on that fifth-year option. Before we get into what Darlington had to say and my reaction, make sure you subscribe because we have daily content here at Dolphins Today breaking down everything you need to know surrounding the Fins. And if Tua does get an extension, we'll be the first to let you know, so hit that sub button. All right, here is the report from Jeff Darlington of ESPN, who said, while I can't say that there is anything imminent in terms of a deal as we inch closer to training camp, I can at least tell you that there have been active negotiations since then. They continue to try to get this done with a very amicable approach. It does not appear that it is going sideways by any means. And to me, this is pleasant to hear because the last time we got a Tua update in terms of contract negotiations from Jeff Darlington was him actually telling us that there is less optimism of a deal getting done. This came about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I'm glad that there is still talks between Chris Grier, Tua, and his representatives because regardless of your opinion, like no matter what you think of Tua Tagovailoa, if he deserves a contract extension, if you don't think he deserves one, you think he chokes, you think he's the franchise guy, like, I don't care what you think. All that matters is this team is working symbiotically, if I said that correctly, to try to get one common goal accomplished, that is winning a Super Bowl. And to me, getting vibes started off poorly by not having an extension done with Tua, him potentially holding out or holding in late July, early August, just kind of hampers this team and could allow Miami to get off to a slower start, which cannot happen. You can't have training camp go sideways, and you can't have a slow start on this Dolphins schedule because we'll look at the Fins schedule at the end of the episode, but when you look at it from an outside perspective, the beginning portion is very easy, and the end is where it gets more difficult. So you're going to have to take advantage of an easier schedule in the first 6 to 8 games of the year, which means you have to have everybody locked in and working with one common goal, and that's simply not possible if Tua Tagovailoa is either holding out or holding in. So to me, I don't know what the holdup is. We need to get an extension done with QB1. Let me know, and this is a prediction. This isn't what you want to happen. This isn't what you think should happen. Just predict it. Will Tua get an extension done prior to training camp getting started? Type Y for yes or type N for no. This might help you answer this question because these are the important dates for Tua and the Miami Dolphins. Rookies report a week from today, July 16th. We're filming this on the 9th, which means we're 7 days away from rookies like Job Robinson, Patrick Paul, Jalen Wright, Malik Washington, Mo Kamara reporting to South Florida to get their rookie seasons underway, which means coaches are going to start installing, and we got real football to talk about. But when you think about the real deadline for Tua and the Miami Dolphins on a possible extension, sure, you can say the beginning of training camp, which is the 16th for Miami, is the rookies report, but Tua and the veterans report on July 23rd. So realistically, to me, you got a 14-day window to get an extension done with Tua. I think you just have to do it, man. Like, we've talked about what he could get in terms of Trevor Lawrence getting $55 million per year over 5 seasons with $200 million guaranteed. Jared Goff getting 172 total with a lot of money guaranteed as well. Like, to me, you simply just have to get this done. If you want to give Tua 55, cool. If you want to give him 52 where Jared Goff got an annual average basis, that's cool too. Either way, I expect it to be in somewhere of those two guys who already got their extensions this offseason. And like I mentioned, I don't want to hammer the point home too much here, but you need to get it done so we don't have a dark cloud hanging over this team when training camp begins. All right, let's transition into the second half of today's show now because do the Dolphins need to win the AFC East? Because NFL analyst and sports talk figurehead Rich Eisen believes the Dolphins need to win the division. I agree. I think Miami absolutely needs to win the AFC East. Not only for themselves as they try to go further and further into the postseason and get a playoff win for the first time in a very long time, but they also need to prove to themselves that they are no longer in the category of building up to being a contender. No, they're actually contending in the AFC. And I know that's going to be tough because the division is really solid and you got a lot of good teams in the AFC, but you got to start by winning the AFC East. We'll look at the schedule here in a second, but Rich Eisen originally said that the Bills are, again, we're just talking about on paper here, but they're getting ready for the season. They're potentially in a transition moment. Name me a team that needs to win and play a home game in order to advance to the Super Bowl more than the Miami Dolphins. And I think the first part of that quote from Rich Eisen is very important. This is the time for Miami. When you look around the AFC East and who they are competing for to potentially win this division and earn a home playoff game, the New England Patriots, they are not ready to contend, but they could be a hot commodity and a good team coming up in the next 3 to 4 seasons if Drake May turns out to be legit, their third overall pick, because they already have a good defense. The New York Jets, they have a really good defense, but they're a little bit older. So they're also coming off a big-time injury with Aaron Rodgers. I don't really believe they're ready to win the AFC East. And Buffalo, who has dominated the division ever since Tom Brady left to go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're kind of regressing, if you will. They lose Stephon Diggs. Von Miller's getting older. They lost Trey Wright. They lost Micah Hyde. They lost Jordan Poyer. Their team is going this way, not this way. So to me, the Dolphins are the only team that have the veterans, the young pieces that are continuing to mesh together on the upward trajectory that can really put a dagger into the AFC East and capture that crown for the first time since 2008. They got to do it, and I believe it's absolutely necessary if they want to try to advance in the postseason, because we've talked a lot about Tua and his issues in cold and big games. Well, you know what's not cold in January? Miami. So why don't you play a game there? You predict it for me. Will the Dolphins win the AFC East? Type W for win, type NC for no chance. I personally am going to type my W's. I got faith in the Aqua and Orange. I think it's important to look at what the schedule is, and we've talked about this in the past, but I want to rehash this topic because this obviously is how Miami can really get things rolling towards an AFC East crown. I think the first 7 games are very favorable for Miami. Home against Jacksonville, home against Buffalo. To me, you got to start 2-0 and win those games. At Seattle is going to be a tough one, so that one could go either way. Let's just say for the safe side, we give them a loss. But then the next 4 games, Titans, Patriots, Colts, Cardinals, with a bye mixed in between, you have to be 6-1 or 7-0 if you ask me. Because the last 8 games of your schedule are absolutely brutal, or actually the last 10 games of your schedule. You got Buffalo in Buffalo. The Rams are an interesting team. Then you get a couple of easy ones with the Raiders and Patriots at home, but you go to the Packers on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving, which is going to be a brutal game in terms of weather. Jets, Texans, Jets to end it, Browns, 49ers. Your schedule down the stretch is a little bit more difficult in the beginning, so you have to get off to a hot start if you're the Miami Dolphins and you want to win the AFC East. And to me, I think I need an 11-6 record. I know that 11-6 wasn't able to get the job done this past season, but I think that is the one that you're going to need this year. I think the Bills take a step back. If they win 9 games, it wouldn't surprise me. If they go 9-8, wouldn't be shocked. The Jets are in that same tier of 8-9, 9-8, 10-7. I think the AFC East winner will be 11 wins. Can Miami get to 11? That's why, as I mentioned off the top with Tua, getting off to a hot start is important because the first 7 games of your schedule is so much easier than the last 10. If you can go 6-1 or 7-0 in your first 2 months of the season, that puts you in a really good spot, which allows you to have a couple hiccups down the stretch, but still have a home playoff game and win the AFC East. And it's a big season for Miami. This is a make or break year for the Miami Dolphins. Don't get it twisted. I'm bullish on this team. I like Tua. I love Mike McDaniel. But this is year 3, and they fumbled down the stretch of the season and haven't been able to win the big game in the first 2 years of them being combined. They both need to prove to the fans, the NFL, and this front office that they can do it when it matters most and win the big game in December and January. They both need it, both McDaniel and Tua. Tua to either earn that contract or prove why he got that contract, and McDaniel to get the talking heads off his back that he can't coach and get the job done down the late stretch of the season. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed because we are going to be breaking down everything for the Miami Dolphins leading up to the season as well as during the season. We talked about what Miami can do in 2024. We'll be live for every Miami Dolphins game on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, whenever they play. So make sure you're subscribed and join us for a hell of a season.